Connor Zilisch to Cup is official. Ram reveals their new factory truck series team, and Xfinity driver Dean Thompson joins the show ahead of this weekend's race at Portland. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Happy Monday, folks. Couple of teams saved huge announcements for this past Saturday. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But first, the Xfinity Series heads to Portland International Raceway this weekend, not far from the Oregon State Beavers' backyard. Sam Hunt Racing driver Dean Thompson will represent the Oregon State University colors on track. We'll catch up with both Dean and Sam at the end of this episode, so stay tuned. But first, we've got some huge news to break down. It's official. Trackhouse is promoting 19-year-old Connor Zilisch to the NASCAR Cup Series full-time in 2026. Primary sponsorship from WeatherTech and Red Bull. No car number, team, or crew chief was announced, but Zilisch did get emotional when talking about his rapid rise up the stock car racing ranks.
I never thought I would make it anywhere in racing, and you know, my parents have been behind me since day one. You know, through every moment, the good, the bad. There were many times I questioned why I left school, left my friends to make this commitment to go to the Cup Series and try and chase a dream of racing in motorsports. And there were times, 5 years ago where I thought I was just going to go to college and live the life of a normal kid. And Kevin Harvick asked my dad, what's your plan with this kid? And my dad was like, well, he's going to race for, another year or two, and then he's going to go to college. And, Kevin told my dad, he's like, you can't do that. So, first of all, thank you to Kevin.
It's hard not to hype up this kid. 18, 19 years old, 11 straight, and I'm not counting Daytona, which he technically won, 11 straight top 5 finishes as an Xfinity Series rookie. Take away Daytona, he still has 6 wins on the season, battling his veteran championship teammate Justin Allgaier for the regular season points title, and he hasn't been racing ovals all that long. Incredible how quickly he has adapted to the stock car racing world. It's hard not to be excited for what Connor Zilisch is and may still become. Now, Zilisch said in this press conference he's not really putting hard expectations like statistical goals on next season. Obviously just wants to learn, keep getting better. But that's not stopping me. I am going to put some broad goals in front of him. I think a realistic goal for Connor Zilisch next year, again, 19 years old, will be by far the youngest driver in Cup. I think a reasonable goal is to perform better than Daniel Suarez did this year. I know there's still 10 races to go, but Suarez is sitting on 2 top 5s, 6 top 10s on the year. He's been between 28th and 30th in points most of the summer. I think it's reasonable to expect Connor Zilisch to hit those marks and maybe even eclipse them, considering how great of a road course racer he is. We know that most of Connor Zilisch's experience is on road courses, but I think he's a more well-rounded, more versatile race car driver than some fans give him credit for. Yes, he's run go-karts, sports cars, Trans Am, which is kind of stock car racing adjacent. He's won the Rolex 24. He's won at Sebring, but he's also won a Cars Tour late model race on a short track. He ran 8 ARCA races last year, and I looked it up, won 5 of them. 4 were on ovals. And again, all the Xfinity wins this year, he has 3 wins on ovals. I'm not including Daytona, of course. Sure, the oval experience is lacking compared to who he'll be up against in the Cup Series next year. But the one good thing about Zilisch, the good thing about his relative inexperience, is that he hasn't had any time to develop bad habits. Next year is going to be a difficult transition, no doubt. Trackhouse is not the best team in the Cup Series garage, and Connor Zilisch, while he might be the second or third best guy on road courses next year, he'll probably be the 25th to 30th or worse best guy at ovals. He has a lot to learn. While the hype is justified, it's important to have realistic expectations going into next season. Again, I think he can come close to matching or slightly eclipsing Daniel Suarez's statistical marks this year, but that wouldn't make him a playoff contender off the bat unless he nabs a win on a road course, which I think at some point next year he could be capable of. Again, it's so hard to predict what Connor Zilisch is going to look like next year. He's so young, he's so raw, but he's so damn good, as we've seen in Xfinity this year. He's so good that even when he's not behind the wheel of the car, he still wins. The best I can do is compare him to some of these other young drivers we've seen come up through the ranks in recent years. And take Ty Gibbs, dynamite his rookie Xfinity Series season, won a bunch of races, went on to win the series championship. Now, to be fair to Ty, he has dealt with personal tragedy the past few years, but there were questions about his maturity before that. His transition to Cup has been, let's say, a process 3 years in. I look at Noah Gragson. I think the one critique of Gragson for years has been, is he disciplined enough? But that's the one thing I don't question about Connor Zilisch. I don't question his maturity at all. He's 19 years old going on 39 years old. You listen to him talk, he's got a good head on his shoulders. I think if any young driver is mentally ready to take on the highs and many lows of NASCAR Cup Series racing, I think it's Connor Zilisch. I don't worry about his mental approach, his emotional maturity, no worries there whatsoever, which is why I've said for months that now is the time to get this young kid behind the wheel of a next-gen car, get him that Cup Series feel. It's going to be a transition. It's going to be a struggle much of next year, but he's also going to pop from time to time, and he's going to get valuable experience 38 weeks out of the 2026 calendar. So Connor Zilisch to Trackhouse, Cup Series, it's official. I referenced Daytona a couple times there. I want to give a shout out to Parker Kligerman. Yes, in the record books, Connor Zilisch got his 7th win of the season, but it was Parker Kligerman driving the 88 in a mid-race substitution role who really got the job done and deserves most of the credit. Kligerman's story this year is remarkable. Part-time driver, full-time TV personality and analyst, wins the Truck Series opener in February for Henderson Motorsports, but then fails post-race tech. There was some drama and controversy around how that process was handled. Devastating, an unbelievable gut punch to bounce back from that months later. Get a call from Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale Earnhardt Jr. believes you are the guy, the best candidate to get that 88 to victory lane, to go back to Daytona and to perform under pressure, cross the finish line first once again. Parker Kligerman, man, all the respect, all the credit in the world. It's a cruel twist of fate that neither of those Daytona wins are going to go on his official record, but still, that moment Friday night on the front stretch, victory lane, an awesome moment nonetheless. Parker Kligerman is obviously a good driver. If he had the funding behind him that other Xfinity drivers do, he could land one of those top seats full time and easily win races, contend for the championship. Unfortunately, that has not been the case for Kligerman. Still, incredible moment to get the call to perform. Shout out Parker Kligerman. Wanted to talk about that on the show first thing this week. Now let's talk trucks. On Saturday, Ram Trucks unveiled their first Truck Series team partnership since their Truck Series return was announced. Kaulig Racing stepping up. First things first, I love the look of this show truck. Y'all know I'm a sucker for black and yellow. I don't even care that the door number is pushed forward a bit. Shout out to Tanner Witt, I believe is the designer who put this together. Awesome job. I want to highlight several key details that were discussed in this announcement. First and foremost, this Kaulig Truck Series team will be fully funded by Ram. This is a Ram factory effort. This is expected to be Ram's only Truck Series team next year. They expect up to 5 trucks on track at Daytona. 5 Kaulig Ram trucks. First thing. Bob Pockris notes that Kaulig will likely be purchasing a lot of these trucks from Spire, and Kaulig said they will hire 50 plus people to run this Truck Series program. It's an interesting situation because Kaulig Racing will now run Ram trucks in the Truck Series, but Chevrolet Camaros in the Xfinity and NASCAR Cup Series. There's a conflict there that Matt Kaulig, Chris Rice, Kaulig Racing are very much aware of. In the past, other teams have tried to play both sides. A lot of fans have pointed out Bill Davis Racing, mid-2000s, got into some legal trouble trying to balance Dodge and Toyota at the same time. Kaulig talked about there being firewalls in place to keep proprietary info between the OEMs separate. Both shops will be in Welcome, North Carolina, so, proximity-wise, they will be extremely close, but they're going to do their best to keep an information barrier between them. Interesting deal here. Matt Kaulig was also asked if this Ram partnership could expand into Xfinity and Cup with Dodge potentially returning. And Matt Kaulig said, quote, "I think all NASCAR teams have been open about we want to be a key partner. If there's no room at other manufacturers, then there's no room. And they understand. Chevy understands that as well. We're just talking about Ram trucks and getting into the truck series, and then we'll deal with all that stuff if and when it comes up." I love that he added the when at the end. He could have said if it comes up. No, he said if and when it's going to come up. At some point, the plan is for Kaulig Racing to adopt Dodge or some other Stellantis brand in the future. It's only a matter of time, it sounds like. So this is an interesting announcement. The Truck Series part is interesting. It's a Ram-funded effort. I talked about this last week, but frankly, if you're Kaulig Racing, I don't see how you have anything to lose by joining forces with Ram and Stellantis and seeing where this relationship goes. Other than the potential legal issues if they don't balance those information centers appropriately. I guess other than that, from a competition standpoint, Kaulig has nothing to lose. They are bottom of the totem pole at Chevrolet, last in line. They're not tier 1. I don't even know if they're tier 2. They're tier 3. Even their Xfinity Series team, we've discussed it, we've looked at the data, they've slowly fallen off the past few years. They're in the middle of their worst Xfinity Series season in years, winless more than halfway through the season. Blame the drivers, the team, the data. The truth is the truth. So what does Kaulig have to lose by trying something new? If this goes well, perhaps Kaulig Racing could position themselves to be that tier 1 Dodge team a couple years down the line. The other wrinkle to this is Kaulig's other relationships. They get ECR Chevy engines on the Cup and Xfinity side. They're right there on Richard Childress Racing's campus. Does ECR RCR get woven into this deal down the line? That's just speculation, but those are the kind of questions that are going to be asked. I should add, no drivers were part of this announcement this weekend. Now, as reporters noted, the announcement took place at a Ram dealership owned by Daniel Dye's father. Daniel Dye is a Kaulig driver in the Xfinity Series right now, so I think it's fair to assume Daniel Dye will be considered for one of these trucks next year, but no announcements were officially made. If I look at the driver lineups for next year, Kaulig is going to buy some of Spire's trucks. Raja Karuth, I know he has Hendrick sponsorship, but there have been some rumblings that Hendrick could put their other guy, Corey Day, in their Xfinity car next season. So where would that leave Raja? Maybe Raja could be a candidate to move to Kaulig. What about a Corey LaJoy, who has moved back down to trucks this year with Spire part-time? If he's open to racing full-time in trucks, Kaulig could be a great opportunity. Could also be a great opportunity for Corey to eventually work his way back up to the NASCAR Cup Series if all goes well. Of course, Kaulig has AJ Allmendinger, Ty Dillon, but I expect them both to return to Cup next year. Christian Eckes is an Xfinity Series rookie. He's had great success in trucks the past couple of years, but he's now in Xfinity, and I imagine he wants to keep looking forward, but who knows? Maybe Eckes, a return to trucks, could be in order. Just throwing some names out there. Let me know down in the comments below who you think makes the most sense to drive some of these Kaulig Ram trucks next year, but it's official. Kaulig Racing and Ram joining forces, brand new Truck Series program 2026. Very, very, very interesting. But with that being said, the Xfinity Series is headed to Portland, the Pacific Northwest this weekend, not too far from Oregon State University. Driver Dean Thompson is representing Beaver Nation on his Toyota this coming weekend. Let's bring Dean and team owner Sam Hunt onto Out of the Groove. I am now joined by Xfinity Series driver Dean Thompson, as well as his car owner, Mr. Sam Hunt. It's great to see you both. Appreciate y'all being here. I'll start with you on this, Dean. This weekend, you're driving the Oregon State University Thompson Pipe Group Toyota at Portland. How are you feeling about representing the Beavers, I guess not too far from their backyard?
No, I feel great. It's a pretty cool opportunity. You don't really get to partner with colleges too often, so it's a pretty cool opportunity presented to me, and definitely gonna make the most of it here at Portland.
So how do you prepare for a unique course like Portland when you have, I guess, no experience there under your belt thus far?
Just a lot of film study, talking to different guys. John Hunter's been a huge help for me recently. Just talking to him. Um, yeah, just kind of bouncing ideas off of them and a lot of personal study myself.
Yeah. And how comfortable are you at road courses? I know at Watkins Glen a couple weeks ago had a pretty good finish, a good run. Do you consider yourself a solid road course racer, or is that something that you've had to learn early in your
No,
career?
no, I'm just another learning for sure. I could probably count the amount of road courses I've ever done. Like I just, it's not been a lot. I grew up oval racing quarter midgets, and never really did the go kart scene or anything like that. So the road course stuff's pretty new to me. I flipped on my first ever road course test, so it's
I
kind of
didn't know
been
that.
autumn, and we're getting better. Sam says I'm doing better at road courses, so I'll try and believe him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad he said he flipped his first time now and not back in November.
That's funny. And for Dean, for you, I know you're from California. You're a West Coast guy, so it's got to be fun being back close to the Pacific for the week.
Yeah, no doubt. I love West Coast racing. Obviously, it's where I'm from. It's too bad Fontana's gone, but I cherish any kind of moment where I race out west for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Sam, I'll bring you in here. I know the 24 car still runs some races, but what's it like this year having a full-time driver in the 26 for a change with Dean?
It's been great, man. I think anytime, you not only have a full-time guy, but you have a rookie, there's a lot of unknowns going into the season. And everyone's kind of hoping for the best, but you never really know. Some guys come out of trucks and, we're good in the truck series and struggle in the Xfinity car, or vice versa. So it's been fulfilling for me seeing Dean grow so much as a driver from February to even now. We say it all the time, but he's a different guy than he was in January. Between his racecraft, his confidence, and just kind of maturity as a young guy. So I just think there's so much value to building confidence and comfort with your group. And I think that's where a lot of Dean's success this year comes from. Obviously, he's working as hard as any driver we've ever had here, so I commend him daily for that. But he's got a crew chief with him right now that they just really mesh well together, and we've just got a really good group that has bought into Dean and believes that Dean can get it done. And Dean's bought into the process to get there. So it's great, man. It's, Dean, everybody at Thompson Pipe, they're just great people. And, we pride ourselves on having good people in this building, and, we're going to get Dean there.
And I know Sam Hunt Racing now has been with Toyota for a few years. How has that relationship evolved over that time?
Yeah, Toyotas, they kind of put their arm around me when they had no reason to, when I had very, very little, and I was just getting started. So, I'll always, feel indebted to them for really taking a chance on a owner that may not have typically fit the mold for what the OEMs are looking for. But yeah, I think, on the Toyota side, they've always given me and our team the tools we need. I think sometimes it's more of the team growing to take full advantage of everything, and every tool they have. So, can confidently say we wouldn't be here without our Toyota partnership. And like I was saying with Dean and our sponsors, the people at Toyota are just phenomenal. They're good humans, and they care about, this place, and they care about me, over the racetrack and more than NASCAR. And again, I'm only here because I've aligned myself with some really good people, and Toyota fits that mold to a T.
And Dean, Sam just talked about your progression over the course of your first full Xfinity Series season. What has been, in your opinion, the biggest adjustment you've had to make after spending a couple of years in the trucks?
Yeah, I feel like it's been a lot of just work ethic. I feel like I had to change how I prepare for weekends, and it's just a totally different race car, totally different race team, different garage, different everything. And so I knew coming into this year that I was going to have to really put my best foot forward. And, I made a couple huge life changes, and I really put my back against myself against the wall, and just fought and clawed all year to really have a better work ethic, and be more focused, and just really connect with the team. Like Sam said, these guys, they may have not believed in me in the beginning of the year, but they sure showed that they were dedicated. And so now I feel like they believe in me, and they're completely behind me. They're excited to see me when I walk in the shop, and it's just been a great team effort, and I feel like that's just been a huge change for me. So it's been great.
Yeah, it's great to see that relationship continues to strengthen over the course of the season. I hear you'll be headed to Oregon State's campus before the race this weekend. What are you most excited to see out there?
Yeah, I'm just excited to meet the great people there. Again, really excited to represent them, and I'm pretty honored that they would choose me to do that. So just excited to meet the people that chose me, and just see around the campus. I mean, I didn't really spend a lot of time in college, so I don't know the whole college scene too much. So I'll get a good feel for it, I feel like.
That's great.
No house parties Friday night.
Yeah, good advice there from the guy with the team owner hat on. I see. Sam, I'll end with you on this. So I'm talking to Coach Trent Bray later, Oregon State head football coach. I'm planning to ask him a question about the challenges of establishing a culture and instilling that in a program, or I guess in your case it would be a racing organization. So I kind of wanted to ask you something similar, like how would you explain the culture at Sam Hunt Racing, and how hard has it been to build that and then maintain it?
I mean, it's always difficult to establish, especially as a new organization. And we have people that are all different ages, different walks of life, different experiences. And for me, I think it's just leading by example. I'm a believer in putting egos aside, and doing whatever needs to be done for your team to be successful. So my style has always been that I'm willing to do, anything that needs to be done, whether it's cleaning the bathrooms at our shop, or doing higher level stuff. And I think leading by example is just something that always resonated with me growing up as a driver or an athlete. I played football for a lot of my life, so I was able to have some really good coaches there too. But yeah, I'm just, I enjoy the people here more than I enjoy the sport of racing or the races themselves. I think we all know that racing kicks you down a lot more than it picks you up, and it's brutal. And, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. So for me, my fulfillment is just the people that are here and that have bought into building this company and this race team, and now bought into making sure Dean gets to victory lane. And ultimately we want to make sure Dean gets to race on Sunday one day. And I think that's the fulfillment for me, is seeing my people succeed and get to where they want to be.
That's good. That's great. Setting the tone, it sounds like. That's awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I really appreciate your time. Dean Thompson, driving the number 26 Oregon State Thompson Pipe Group Toyota this weekend at Portland. And Sam, really appreciate you being on as well. Good luck this weekend, folks, and the rest of this season.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, have a good one.
Big thank you to Dean and Sam for spending some time with us. Exciting partnership, part of Oregon State University. Thank you for watching this video, folks. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I'll see you again real soon. Have a great rest of your Monday, folks. Thank you so much for watching.